And welcome into the Tuesday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Doing all right. I guess Twitter's down, huh?
It appears to be, yes.
Yeah.
Appears to be on the outs.
That would have bothered
on
me.
The fritz.
That would have bothered me more when I was younger, but now I don't really like Twitter, so it's fine.
Back in your day?
Yeah.
Would have bothered you?
Yeah. I mean, I used to, participate in Twitter. I don't do it too much, But I noticed you guys all ripping me on Skiatika, though. Appreciate that.
Guess it was kind of my fault, huh?
That was good.
Well, LeBron's back. He's been dealing. No pun intended. He's back. He's been dealing with the sciatica stuff. So anytime that comes up, it's a local point of interest around there. I don't know what to tell you.
Skiatika. That is true. He did say he's like, any of you guys had this? Most people were like, no. He's like, well, I pray you never do. I mean, I'm sure it's terrible.
He wouldn't refer to it by name. He just kept calling it it.
Yeah. Well, I get that.
How do you say this?
The big S.
Yeah. Ian, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Yeah, a little bit of internet issues. I don't know. Something, who knows? No Twitter. Someone called our app is a little acting funky. So just be on the
head on a swivel.
Yeah, head on a swivel. We got some internets are down.
All right.
In multiple locations.
Okay.
So
hey, the YouTube chat's flowing. Chat's flowing. Text line works. Let's get after it.
I can't get to the YouTube chat. My way to get to the YouTube chat every day is when you guys tweet out the link to the show, and then I click on the YouTube link.
Yeah, my YouTube's not working correctly.
Mine is. It's in there.
All right. Well, then you're in charge.
I guess so.
Tell everybody hi for me.
I will. You can just go to youtube.com. See how that goes.
That's a fair point.
Could do that. We got a lot going on the program today. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean will be with us at 7 o'clock. We will get into the Titans with him. We will get into the Predators. We will have a Predators conversation later on this hour. Are the Predators going to fire Andrew Brunette this week? We mentioned the break in the schedule. It seems like if you were going to do it, this would be a nice time to do it. They did not do it yesterday, so we'll see what that looks like on that front. But I know a lot of you have thoughts on that you were asking about yesterday, so we will get into that later in the program today. College football coaching stuff going wild right now. James Franklin gets hired by Virginia Tech. Lane Kiffin is apparently having his family tour Baton Rouge and Gainesville, and Ole Miss people are giving him deadlines and all this other things. So we will get into all that a little bit later in the program as well, and some Cam Ward stuff to get into that I saw Blake Bedingfield point out that is pretty interesting. So we will get into that a little bit later in the program as well. Joe, we begin on the Titans front with something that we kind of ended the show with yesterday, and it's actually something that another Titan added to yesterday. That is, are some of the younger players just kind of brushing off, or I guess to use the phrase we're about to hear, huffing and puffing when Titans veteran players are talking to them and giving them advice? And if so, who is it, and what does that mean for the Titans as they move forward here? So after the 16-13 loss to the Houston Texans on Sunday, which dropped the Titans to 1-9, Jeffrey Simmons sounds off after the game. We talked about that a lot yesterday, and guess kind of felt like J.C. Latham in particular may have been under fire from Jeffrey Simmons. And Arden Key had these comments to say after the game about trying to talk to the young guys and what that process has been like. Here's what Arden Key had to say after the game Sunday.
Talking to him one-on-one, I mean, it's one of those. It's kind of new, just in this new age. When I came in, they gonna talk to you, and you better get it right. Mm-hmm. Now you talk to them, and huff, puff, all that going on. So it's one of those things where you got to learn how to talk to them, and I'm kind of getting better at it just because I got kids. I don't talk to all my kids the same way. I talk to them in different ways because they react to different ways in different situations. So it's one of those things where I just got to talk and figure it out.
So that was TD who had that audio of Arden Key after the game talking about how, at the ripe old age of 29, these kids today, you got to talk to them different ways out there.
Got to learn how to talk to these kids.
Got to learn how to talk to them. He said there's huffing and puffing and all that carrying on is what he said. What did you make of those comments from Arden Key?
Well, you gotta love Arden Key, man. We're gonna miss Arden Key. Maybe he'll be here forever. Every year, it's like, oh, Arden Key will probably be gone, right? No, he's still here, and he makes some plays, and he's hilarious. And look, it is funny because he's 29, but he's a veteran. I guess this is sort of like this is one of these universal things of life, right? Like the generation behind you, the coworkers you have, even if maybe they're only like 6-7 years younger than you. It's like, my God, generation, whatever, fill in the blank. What the hell's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
You know, like, what are they doing? And so I find that interesting. I do wonder, is it like a widespread thing? Is it across the board, all the young guys, all the rookies, all the first and second years, or is there one or two people in particular?
Well, so you have that after the game on Sunday, and then this was brought up again by Jihad Ward on Monday about youngsters and trying to talk to them and get them to kind of pull the rope in the right direction. Here's what Titans edge rusher Jihad Ward had to say on Monday.
Arden said he feels like it's harder these days to get young guys to kind of follow the vets the way it was maybe earlier in his career. I'm wondering if you have a little bit of that feeling about generationally and maybe about this team.
I feel where he's coming from. A lot of young guys feel like they try to take in charge, since, well, me personally, I feel like everybody is grown. I'm not going to treat no young cat like a rookie. I treat everybody as grown men. So my mentality is like, all right, cool. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. You're just going to hit adversity. NFL, you're going to hit adversity early or middle or late. So the bottom line is you going to hit it. What you going to do about it? So is if you listen to the veterans, or you just gonna be in that deep hole. So that's my whole take about the whole situation. If the young players don't want to step up, or the young players just don't want to listen. So, but we got some young cats over here. They buying in, and that's all I can say on that one.
So I'll be honest with you, Joe. I heard the Arden Key quote, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, we know Arden Key. Yeah, he's talked about before how, the last coaching staff, they did. I don't know if they made one adjustment the whole time. And then by the end of the year, like this coaching staff, I don't think they've made a single adjustment out there. Like we had fun with it. It was fun. I honestly heard the Arden Key comments yesterday, and I didn't really think that much of it, to be honest with you. I was like, okay, so he's trying to figure out how to talk to some young guys. The Ward quote, I will say, it's interesting. Like it makes me think that there is somebody or a couple of somebodies in particular that they're talking about here, that clearly some veteran players have been trying to get through to, and for whatever reason, they're just not getting through to the guy, and the guy's not listening. And I saw, Kuharski put out some videos yesterday kind of talking about some of this, and he's like, basically the press box speculation is it's J.C. Latham is who they're all talking about here. Right. I have no idea. I mean, when you add that up with the Jeffrey Simmons thing after the game, kind of makes sense. So I don't know, but what did you make of the Ward quotes there?
Yeah, well, and the thing is, obviously, Ward and Key in practice, they go against offensive tackles, so it's like, who would you be? Obviously, you would be talking to guys on your defense. You'd be talking to other defensive linemen or whoever. You'd be talking to anybody. But probably if you're one of those guys, you're either talking to guys at your position or you're talking to guys at the position that you go against regularly. So, yeah, I mean, all of this adds up to, I get my question, are they all talking about J.C. Latham? I mean, we don't have confirmation of that. I'm very interested to hear from him this week, and to hear if I guess can you just confirm, are you the guy? Are you the young guy who won't like listen to these guys? Because it certainly
How would you rate your listening skills 1 to 10 for the veterans?
I mean, it certainly could be like more than one person, Yeah. But yeah, it certainly kind of looks that way. It's easy to go there with speculation. So I guess another thing about all this and the post game reaction was, I think it was Kuharski who said that I think he tweeted that Simmons exaggerated the false start thing. Yeah. So like we speculated yesterday, how many false starts did Latham have Friday? Well, according to the Kuharski reporting. None. He didn't have any of them. It was like a couple of them, and it was like a receiver or something.
Well, I'm practice squad, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like, so certainly we know who had the false starts in the game, which pissed off Simmons.
Yep.
But then it's easy to go with the speculation of what he said after that to say, oh my God, and Latham was screwing around Friday too. Well, that wasn't Latham. I'm just saying this looks that way too, but I'd like a little more, more information.
Whether it's Latham or it's somebody.
Yeah.
It's clearly there is somebody in there that's a young player that the veterans just don't feel like are listening very well. I mean, you've got Arden Key talking about how there's huffing and puffing going on when the veterans try to talk. And I don't know, I took the Jihad Ward quote there as basically like, man, I can tell you, all I can do is tell you. And if you don't choose to listen, that's on you.
Yeah.
It's
deep hole.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good quote.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think that they're just saying that for the sake of saying it. Like there's clearly something there that somebody's not listening.
I mean, maybe it's Restrepo just going through the locker room, smacking people, just like, put me on the field. I mean, who knows? Let's make this about Strep. Strep has taken over the locker room.
Well, he's like, you guys are 1-9. Why would I listen to anything you got to say? What's going on around here? I did see some Titans fans talking about that the other day. I was like, yeah, good. I hope my rookies aren't listening to any of these bum veterans in there.
There you go. You guys are losers.
Oh, boy. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We are off and running on Robby and Rexrode. So what do you make of apparently some young guys, or at least one young guy in the locker room that doesn't appear to be listening to the veteran players all that much? Take your thoughts on that. Is this a big deal? Is this something you talk about when a team's 1-9? Where do you come down on all this? 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We will get into Andrew Brunette and his status as coach of the Nashville Predators coming up here in just a few minutes. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. What do you make of some quotes from Arden Key and Jihad Ward about maybe some younger players not listening all that much? One texter says this. This is a relatively long text, but I'll get the main points of it. It says, I don't think it's as simple as rookies not listening to the vets. It's a symptom. The real issue is the Titans are in the middle of a full reset. New GM, new coaches, a young quarterback. There's a ton of roster turnover. And when all that happens at one time, the leadership structure gets blurry. Right now, there's a lack of leadership, and players are stepping outside the lines without real accountability. It sends a message that the culture isn't fully established. And then he goes on to say, good teams have top-down alignment, front office, coaches, veterans, rookies. Titans are just not there. What do you make of all that?
I ain't reading all that, but congratulations, or sorry that happened to you.
Good job. You hadn't done that in a while.
That's a really long text. No, I mean, that could be, I think all of it makes sense. It just could just be like a personal issue with one person,
Could be.
I mean, I don't think the texture's wrong that like there's things missing here and it's blurry and they need a better everything, top down, and again, it's like a lot of it is, it's like with coaches, you can be a great guy and people can like you, which is, I think, what was true of Brian Callahan.
Sure.
But if they don't think you're good at your job, then eventually you're going to lose the room. It's like, this guy's not helping us win. This guy's screwing us over.
Yeah.
So you have to have like competent people in all those, and you have to have leaders who are great players. They're at least really good players. So, like, I think Simmons has stepped forward this year, which is a good thing for them. I'm still a little hesitant on, crowning him as like this incredible NFL leader, but like that's a good development, I think. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I feel like this is just potentially like could be like one guy, but I think there's something, like there definitely is something to this in general. You can apply this to real world. Like Chuck's like, I work with new workers who were not even born when I started. I'm the grandfather, so I definitely do not know how to talk to them. Now, that's not this, right? Because, again, Arden Key, all of 29.
Ancient Arden Key. Yeah.
But, I mean, look, people can relate to this, I bet, out there.
Sure.
Like at work, where it's like even some. I mean, I tell Jake Lyman all the time, Jake, you need to say ass more fart jokes. You need to be way less professional than you are. And
real mentorship here.
He just ignores me.
Yeah.
He just,
you won't do what you tell me.
he just comes down every day and he's a professional broadcaster. So, fine. Good luck. Go in your deep hole.
Yeah.
Jake Lyman.
Well, there is a tendency of the young kids now to do things their way. You can tell them the way it should be done, the way it has been done, the way we do it, but then they proceed to do it their own way, even though that's not the way they've been told to do it.
Thank you, Grandpa Ian.
I'm just saying.
Let that cloud.
This is the Boomer Hour on Robby and Rexrode.
Hey, damn kids, let me tell you something.
No, he's right though.
I mean, I have kids, I'm old. So like I have 2 kids in college now.
You could be my dad.
I could be.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yes.
Who is your daddy?
Terrifying.
And what does he do?
Terrifying for you. But first of all, they're very different. But my 2 sons who are in college, but also like there's some generational stuff that I can't, last week I was bitching about, what my daughter wears to concerts.
That's true.
I mean, it just
it did happen.
I mean, these things happen. But this Chuck brings up an interesting point. Like outside of Simmons, who in the locker room has skins on the wall, where the young guys would respect them. And I think that's an interesting point here because all due respect to Arden Key, Jihad Ward. Like, let's say you are like a J.C. Latham. Should you listen to everybody? Yes. When you're struggling, especially, sure. Simmons, of course. Like a Ward and a Key. If you're a Latham, you're like, yeah, you guys are like journeyman, whatever. I was a number 7 pick. I'm not saying you should feel that way. But I'm just saying you could see how in your head you could be like, well, how why does this guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, like this guy's bouncing around team to team,
Yeah.
I don't want to like, go too far into just like verifying as fact that this is Latham. It just looks that way, but I don't know that.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's also the bottom line is when you lose this much, this stuff starts to happen, right? Like, unless you're, AJ Brown, the Philadelphia Eagles, where there's, some sort of drama taking place every week, and yet they just find ways to win games all the time. Like, this stuff happens. So, as far as who has the skins on the wall stuff, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like, Arden Key and Jihad Ward aren't superstar players. Now, I will say this, and I don't know how long this has been going on, but let's say it's Latham. Let's say it's another younger player on offense. I mean, Calvin Ridley's been in there. He's, say what you will about Calvin Ridley. He's had some skins on the wall. Tyler Lockett was in there. And I know Tyler Lockett's not a good player anymore, and he's reaching the end of his career.
Made some plays last night for the Raiders.
He did. He's reaching the end of his career. But, like, Tyler Lockett's got some skins on the walls, man. I'd probably listen to what Tyler Lockett had to say. So, like, they've had some guys in there that do have skins on the walls.
Yeah. So, right. So, like, the receivers have had some guys, so were they listening? Were they not? I don't know. Were they just going through TikTok, ignoring everybody? I don't know. Ed says,
Jim DK, like, move aside, Tyler Lockett. I'm not listening to a word you say.
I mean, I can relate to that. What does that sound? Oh, now I hear another beep, 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 beep. Oh, and there's another beep, 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 some stupid song. Oh, you just sit there scrolling TikTok. Well, great way to spend your life. Ed says, all this great stuff is great for media and fans. Simmons calling out position groups is just wrong. Doing it privately doesn't give him license to air it publicly. It's a distraction. Does he think it's going to make him listen more? I don't know if I mean, Ed's, I don't know. I think that might be a little bit of an overreaction. Again, like you remember like the Bengals a few weeks ago, that was probably like, that was just emotion after. And look, I don't blame the offensive players of the Bengals for being furious that the defense completely imploded and let the Bears win that game.
Yeah.
But that probably went too far, right? With like, get an effing stop,
I think we've also like gone, not to get all societal here, we've gone pretty soft in terms of like public criticism too. Like, I was speaking of being, in brain rot and scrolling around TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. I was doing that last week, and I came across this press conference after our practice from Jim Mora, where he's just ripping guys. I mean, just ripping them. And this was like with the Saints in the 90s or whatever it was. And he's just ripping guys. I was like, geez, like Jim Mora is just getting after all these people. And I was like, well, when's the last time something like this happened in the NFL? I don't remember a coach ever just sitting up there just ripping guys all the time.
Yeah, well, now, yeah, that absolutely used to happen more. Now that is the coach, right? So look, when Vrabel was here, sorry, everybody, he should not be named coach of the year. That's number one seed in the AFC right now, but he would not go by name, but he would. I mean, like when they lost that game in Arizona, which is Julio Jones' first game, he was like, I don't give a crap what kind of car you drive, he was totally subtweeting Julio Jones.
Yeah,
because he did not. He was skeptical of bringing him in, and he didn't like him when he was here. And then the don't do dumb bleep to hurt the team. That was about Julio Jones too. I don't know even who he was talking about a couple years later when they started going down the hill. But remember, he had the whole thing about, some guys show up and then they leave at 5 o'clock or whatever, and then, if you're going to do that, and it's like, I maybe Kaharski, we can ask him tomorrow. I'll probably will forget.
We got a lot of things to talk about with Kaharski tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. But like, there's there's that without calling out someone's name, right? I think typically they try to do that. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think Ed's making a little bit too much of it, because ultimately Simmons did also in there say, no, then the defense, because let's face it, the defense played great Sunday until it didn't when it was 3rd and 16 and you had a chance and then you gave it up. That's you. Simmons had a critical penalty. So I don't think that he like totally was just pointing the finger. I think he, I think he did handle it okay.
Yeah, I thought he was fine.
So speaking of, this just came to mind. I sent you guys this last week from our associate regional producer here last week. Here's an example of a coach who does this stuff a lot. I miss this.
Very demanding of them. Do you feel that this is a group that can handle that maybe Now, what do
Better
you want me to do?
some.
What do you want me to do? Hug and kiss them? Want me to, guys, you're doing all right? No, it's not my style. So when you say I'm being demanding of them, what the hell are you supposed to be doing? You know, we got guys that want to play at the next level. We got guys that want to win championships. We want guys that want to get better every day. Wanting to and doing it are two different things. So I think a couple guys, you know, we're going to see. I promise you something. That free throw shooting thing is going to change.
Tom Izzo. Yeah, he was barking at Solari too, by the way. We have to get Solari on sometime just to have, but he'll make so much fun of me that it might be he's way worse than Charles. But yeah, I mean, there's a guy who's still, I mean, he tries not to call people out by name, but he, sometimes he does. But again, that's a coach.
Yeah.
A little bit of a difference there too. But I think it's better. Like coaches always talk about it, and it's a cliche. I agree with it though. Like coach or player-led teams are better than coach-led. You got to have that.
Yeah.
You have to have that. So if it's Latham, Liam said this, and I totally agree with Liam. He said Latham seemed like one of the most impressive young men we've ever drafted. Hard worker, smart, reflective. Maybe this franchise just ruins players. I totally agree. Latham must have absolutely blown everybody away in his interviews. He's great to talk to. He's really impressive. But at the same time, like if you're not performing and you got to be able to, you got to be able to fold into a locker room, and sometimes you got to, just basically eat bleep, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe it seems like there's a little bit of not fully accepting responsibility there. Maybe.
Well, like Robin Knowles says, if I have an awful coworker, like the worst in the company, why would I listen to him? This is the worst team in the league, full of losers. Why would I listen to bums like Arden Key? Well, I guess my follow-up to that, and again, assuming that, let's just go for the sake of argument that this is Latham, and it may not be Latham.
Yeah.
So I want to make that clear again. It may not be Jay-Z Latham, but like, let's say it is.
Let's say it doesn't matter, but we know who they're listening to or not listening to.
Yeah.
We know it's Key and like
Right.
War.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what's Latham done? What has Latham done at the NFL level besides being drafted where he was drafted?
Right.
Nothing. It's been disappointing. So, like, I mean, you play that game with, the bums like Arden Key if you want to. Like, right now, J.C. Latham's trending towards being a bust. I hate to tell you, but he is. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed to be. But right now, that's what he's trending towards. So that's got to turn at some point.
All right. Like Texter says, it's hard for a young guy to listen to someone who makes half as much money as they do. Yeah, but see, you need to. Because when it comes down to it, it is a meritocracy. And it's not about where you were drafted or how much you make. Are you performing or not?
We moved from one team in the local market here that is struggling mightily to another team that is struggling mightily, and fans are calling for the job of the coach. We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We'll have Gentry Estes from the Tennessean joining us at 7 o'clock. We will get into the Titans with him, and we will also get into the Nashville Predators with him. Joe, who are back from Sweden. They don't play again until Saturday, and they are now 6-10-4 through 20 games. So through the 20-game mark, they have won 6. They have 16 points. Their points percentage is at .400. And right now, Joe, only the Calgary Flames have a worse record in the NHL. Calgary's 5-12-3 for 13 points. Predators with the second worst record in the league. Now, in fairness, St. Louis is 6-9-4 and have played one fewer game than the Predators have, but they're right there with them. But by the numbers, Predators have the second worst record in the National Hockey League right now through 20 games. So we talked about the importance to begin the year from the Andrew Brunette standpoint of getting off to a good start, and they have not done that. We are approaching American Thanksgiving. They are 20 games in, and they are not good. So I said it last week. You know, they had 2 games in Sweden against Pittsburgh. They won the first one in overtime. They lost the second one and just basically, I mean, I don't want to say no-showed, but kind of no-showed in the second game and got beat 4-0 and shut out by the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is a break in the schedule that, frankly, they just don't have a whole lot of this year. You've got the Sweden trip that they just took. There's also the Olympics coming up in February, which means you're playing all the time. Like, they're off until Saturday, and then it's right back to, well, they play Monday, and then they play Wednesday, and then they play Friday, and then they play Saturday. Like, they're playing all the time. So, I mean, just logic tells me, Joe, it's the 20-game mark. They've only won 6. In terms of the break in the schedule, it seems like if you were going to make a coaching change, if that was on your radar, if you're Barry Trotz, that now would probably be a good time to do it. And you've got a practice day Wednesday, practice day Thursday, practice day Friday before you play on Saturday. So there's a lot that you could conceivably get done with an interim head coach, or I guess you could go look for another head coach. Or heck, if you believe some people, Barry Trotz is going to walk down from the press box and get behind the bench and he's going to start coaching. Now, a lot of Predators fans obviously are out on Brunette and want him gone. There was no move yesterday. Andrew Brunette, as far as I know, still the head coach of the Nashville Predators. So where do you make of kind of where that lands right now, Joe, where things stand with Andrew Brunette through 20 games and the fact that as of right now, still got his job?
Well, I just assume he's going to keep his job for right now. If we talked about this time period. It made sense because of the break. But if that's why it makes sense, then you use as much time as possible, right? You take advantage of that time. So you fire him yesterday. So they didn't. So I'm not sitting here waiting on pins and needles. And maybe again, then it'll happen tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, well, you're dumb. But like, to me, like it was going to be happening yesterday, or just move forward.
I think today could be a chance. There's a possibility today too, because they're not practicing today. They got back. It was a long flight. You get back. Maybe you take the day yesterday. If it doesn't happen today, then it ain't happening this week. That would be kind of how I would view it. Like,
okay.
they're not gonna wait until, I don't think, Wednesday, where they're like, well, I know we've had the last 2 days to talk about all this, and now we got practice day, so we're gonna fire Andrew Brunette like Wednesday morning. Like, I don't think that's happening. So I'm not letting down the radar today. If he gets through today, then I think he's probably not going anywhere this week, would be how I would answer it.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay.
But I'm honestly, deep down, I think I'm kind of with you. Like, I know that conventional wisdom says that most coaches would be fired right now in his situation. I know he's like number one on all the hot boards to be fired, all these things. So I get all that. Barry Trotz, as we have discovered, marches to the beat of his own drum. And maybe that's a good thing sometimes. Maybe sometimes it's not. I know a lot of Predators fans do not want to hear that right now, and I understand it. I wonder what that looks like. Now, I do think, and I'm just being honest here, I think we have reached the point with that team, and you could argue if you want to, they reached it a while ago. But I think for sure now, they have reached the point where, I mean, you're running out of options. Like, I think you're probably out of options. Like, this team is not getting any better, and you can blame whatever you want to blame for that. You can blame it all on coaching if you want to. I don't think it's all on coaching. I think coaching is part of it. I said it last week. I'll stand by it. I think it's becoming pretty clear that while Andrew Burnett may be a good coach, and I think, probably one day he will be a good coach, he's clearly not the right coach for this team right now with the roster that they've got and the situation that they're in. And I just don't see it ending well at this point. Like it's, I think you can disagree with their decision to keep him over the summer, and that's fine. But that's what they decided to do. And I think it was crucial after that you get off to a good start. And they just haven't. Like they've won 6 games in their first 20 games. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to get better. Like, by the way, they've got Colorado coming in on Saturday, who has 1 regulation loss on the year. 1.
Yeah, that sounds promising. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get better if you fire him, but at some point that is the only alternative. That's the only, that's the one thing that you can basically do until you get to the trading deadline. And to me, it's inevitable that we're going to see some of these veterans moved, and it's going to be a full acknowledgement of just, like, I guess, a rebuild, right? Like, you just go into the young timeline and not worrying about winning anymore.
Well,
right? It has to be.
All of the quote unquote insiders, I shouldn't say all, a lot of the insiders around the NHL right now, they're talking about the Predators and they're talking about Brunette and how they think a coaching change could be coming, but how they think like major changes could be coming. And then, O'Reilly's name comes up, Stamkos's name comes up. People in Edmonton aren't going to let go of the UC Saros thing until they find a goalie. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. I saw, Jeff Merrick wondering aloud about what this means for Philip Forsberg and his future, and all those things are going to come up when it comes to the general discussion around this team. Like I said, though, I just, I think I've probably been more patient on Brunette than most because I do believe he's a good coach. But I mean, we're coming up on a year and a half right now of a body of work with this makeup, with this team that just ain't working.
Yeah.
And when that happens for that long in the NHL, teams move on from the coach. It's just what happens in this league.
And it will at some point, but just obviously Barry Trotz is going to be more patient than everybody else. And then he's going to continue and he's going to go another step further, maybe another step after that. And eventually that'll be the answer. They'll move forward and do something different. And they're going to be super young and they're going to be bad. I mean, the texter says, you think him being fired will revamp the roster? Just bring all the new guys up. No, we're not saying they'll revamp I mean, I don't think so. I guess it's, as we've talked about before, there are times we've definitely seen coaching changes where teams that looked dead in the water.
Yeah.
And then the coaching change. I mean, again, in St. Louis, it's happened twice in the last decade, right? Where once to an incredible degree. But I just, you look at who they had and you look at what is here, and it's just hard to, although again, there's talent on paper here. There's a lot of achievement on the roster
There's
here.
a lot of achievement.
But it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere.
There's not
no
much
matter what you do.
The fundamental problem, which we've talked about 1,000 times, we don't need to talk about it again, but we know it. I mean, their center ice is awful. It's not good. And I think we knew that coming into the year. I said coming into the year, they have the worst center ice in the league, and it's played out that way. I mean, I hate to pick on one guy because it's not just one guy. So I want to make that clear. But I mean, they put a lot on Svechkov, right? Coming into the year, and they were going to give him a shot to play higher in the lineup, and they have to some degree. Now they've kind of been forced to walk that back a little bit. But the bottom line is he's got 1 point in 18 games. And as I tweeted the other day, a lot of times I don't even notice he's playing out there. And that's not good. As good as it is that Matthew Wood is playing as well as he is, and that's good. That's a great sign. The Svechkov being as frankly bad as he's been so far this year is not good. That is not a good development. And I mean, not a great thing for Andrew Burnett either, that you're talking about Svechkov 1 point, which is an assist in 18 games.
Yeah. The 2-year, I guess it's a 2-year project called Novachkov. Just really not,
and again,
not working, man.
Not to make an excuse for Steven Stamkos, but I mean, I think every time he shoots a one-timer, I'm like, well, that guy can still shoot the puck. The goal he scored the other night in overtime, I'm like, man, he gave him some space and let him shoot. He can still shoot. There's nobody on the team to get him the puck. And it's not just as simple as that. I get it. That's a big part of it. Like, he's got to have somebody get him the puck.
Well, I would Yeah, I know it's not as simple as that, but and it's not as simple as this, but I guess I would also say then, okay, then why ever not have him with O'Reilly?
Yeah, well, and I don't even think O'Reilly's that guy. Like O'Reilly
But it's the
is
best
it's the best
possibility, right?
possible. Yeah. And they've, Forsberg and O'Reilly have been attached at the hip, which I get. And Stamkos has played with O'Reilly some this year. So it's not, again, I don't want to sit here and absolve Stamkos because he's part of this. But again, I guess I'll put it to you this way. If this ends up going the way I think it might, and they start selling off here, and O'Reilly ends up going somewhere else, and I don't know, they retain some of Stamkos's contract and he ends up a contender, I'll ask you, is it going to surprise you if Stamkos ends up somewhere else with a contender and a facilitator of the puck? And while he's not perfect, ends up scoring at like a 30-goal rate? Won't surprise me.
Not remotely. No, not remotely. Because he has to have the right conditions, but he still has a skill set with the right conditions to produce. Unlike some of the guys who have left here who, have been overestimated. It's like, that's just guys not very good. This guy, yes. Well, and then you get into, you mentioned it, but I mean, I guess we could come back and talk about this. But like, I mean, the guys, the Yossi's, the Forsbergs on this roster.
Yeah.
Once you get to this reality point, do they say, you know what, I don't have a whole lot of time left in this league, but I would like to not do it with a bunch of young guys that with no chance to win at all?
And I said it last week, and I could be totally wrong about this because changes can happen pretty quickly in this league. They can. But I look at where they're at with their roster. I look at where they're at with their young guys, and I look at where they fit into the mold right now in the Western Conference. They're a long way away, man. They're a long way away from being competitive. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on Andrew Brunette and his status as head coach of the Predators. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Andrew, after the emotional win on Friday night, you knew they would push back. How disappointing was it that your team wasn't able to match that early today?
Yeah, it was disappointing. I think the traction that we gained, we just let slip away again. Especially the first period. I thought all the things that we talked about that we did on Friday, we did not do, and we knew they'd have a bigger sense of urgency, and the puck meant more to them than us that period. And it's a tough way to start a game, let alone give up 3 early. So yeah, disappointing.
That was Andrew Brunette Sunday after the 4-0 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Preds are 6-10-4 through 20 games. They are the second worst team in the NHL by the numbers right now. And we're taking your thoughts on the status of Andrew Brunette. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Skylar says, firing Bruno the only option. I do hate it because I think Bruno's a good coach. I think Trotz needs more blame than people are giving him with this roster. I saw Liam on the text line earlier too say, if Trotz doesn't fire Brunette, then I'm out on Trotz. It seems like he isn't equipped to make the tough decisions. It's from Liam on the text line. And Joe, I've heard a lot of that over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I don't know that I disagree. I don't know that I agree that Trotz is not getting blame. I think Trotz is getting plenty of blame. I mean, at least I think from every time we talk about Brunette, it gets to Trotz, doesn't it? I can't remember the last time we talked about Brunette's status that it didn't get to. And how about Barry Trotz in this roster and his plan and what the heck is going on? What is the plan? Because it looks to me like they're about to go into serious wilderness.
Yeah. Well, and they may have to. And then it comes back to that's why, I mean, the 2 times we've talked about 1,000 times, the 2 timelines thing is hard to do, man. Because then what does that mean? Like you go into the wilderness. I mean, not to get back into the UC Saros, Yaroslav Askarov debate, who, by the way, playing pretty darn well for San Jose right now. But like, so right now you're supposed to be in like the best years of his career, right?
Yeah, the only reason you make that deal is because on the first few years of that deal, you have a chance to actually win.
So
you don't.
You're gonna wander through for 3-4 years and then hope he's still good by the time he's 34 years old, 35 years old. They're not a good spot right now. And look, like I said, the 2 timelines thing is somewhat interesting because like the timeline right now with what's going on with the veterans, it ain't working. And let's be honest here. It's not going to work, right? Like we've seen enough of a sample size with the Stamkos, Marchessault, Shea, like their current roster construction. It's not just going to magically get better. I mean, we're over 100 games now of sample size with this group. It's not going to work. So I think we know that at this point. The other part of this, Joe, is like they do have some younger guys coming up that are not here yet that are pretty exciting. Like Brady Martin, I think may be a pretty good player. Igor Surin may be a pretty good player. Problem is, and I understand it if you're a Predators fan, it's like nobody really cares about that right now because, number one, let's see what they do when they get here. How many prospects have we seen that are pretty impressive that get here and are okay? So I understand that. But if you're looking at it organizationally, like I do think there's some reason to be excited about the future. But how long is it going to take? And the other part of this, like, Anaheim is coming on this year. Chicago is coming on this year. San Jose is starting to come on. And that's not even taking into account Colorado and their freakish start to the year, and Edmonton and Vegas. And I know Edmonton's struggling right now, but they still have McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, we know how good they are. Like, it's a Western Conference and a division. I mean, Utah's a good young team. Like, it is going to be hard in the Western Conference to climb up the ladder based on how good some of these teams either are right now or are building to be with some of their young core.
All right. So you're behind though. So you are about to replace Anaheim and San Jose. I mean, I don't see any way around that. You are about to be that team. And if you take as long as Anaheim and San Jose have to get out of the wilderness, again, good for both of them. I think especially with Anaheim, I feel like they definitely they have, you can see where it's going.
Yeah.
Well, I think San Jose finally.
Yeah.
Okay,
San Jose in about 3-4 years is going to be really good.
But it took forever.
Yep.
So now the people over here in the Preds organization who run the business side of things, That's not a promising prospect.
No.
But I don't see a way around it. I really don't.
No.
Again, you can try to do what Trotz did, which again, raise my hand. I was excited just like you were.
Everybody was.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, this is going to be incredible. You can try to do something like that again, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Do you?
I don't think so. And it's a totally different situation too, because I mean, looking back on it, it's easy to play revisionist history now. Looking back on it, maybe the 18-game point streak that they made a couple years ago and making the playoffs, maybe that was a bad thing, right? Like it lulled you into a false sense of where you were at the time, and maybe they would have been better off just missing the playoffs and going through some of the pain. And if they did that, maybe they wouldn't have signed Stamkos and Marsh. I'm not going to sit here and second guess all that now, because I was, like everybody else, excited about it at the time. But, at least at that time, you had a playoff run where they had played really well in the second half of the year. And I mean, Stamkos said it when he got here. Marchessault said it. I mean, look at them. They're a pretty good team. And then you add 2 40-goal scorers to it. You felt pretty good. I mean, there's not going to be free agents feeling that way right now. They're going to look at it and be like, well, this is a rebuilding team.
Exactly.
Unless you're just wildly overpaying somebody, they're probably not going there.
You look at that team at that time, you're like, they got a Vezina level goalie, Forsberg, Yost. Yes. I mean, you can see it. Like there's enough there where, like, if they add the right pieces, some of these young guys, it could be something. And again, if they are going to go into this, which I think is darn near inevitable, Willie Donick signing UC Saros. Tell me how that works. Tell me how that works with this. I mean, I think you need to try to deal him, right? It's just, you're just going to waste whatever is left of his highest level, if there's any of it left.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Let's quickly head back to the phone line. Welcome in Ricky in Nashville to the program. Ricky, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
I think one of the things we had to look at here, and I studied the Stamkos signing pretty hard, was Tampa Bay. He's a legend. He's won Stanley Cups. He's a leader on that team. They let him walk. There's a reason why they let him walk. With Marchessault, I think here the problem is, obviously, he's just not a fan of the coaching staff here. I don't want to say he's dogging it, but I just want to say I don't think he's a big fan of the style being played here. And I think the solution is, there's a couple teams interested in Stamkos on the rumor mill. It's Vancouver and Montreal. Both have very deep prospect pools. We can't keep trading for first-round picks. You need NHL-ready prospects. Right now, Nashville set themselves up to be the Christmas tree at the deadline. Everybody's going to want to pick apart Nashville and take what they have left. Toronto's going to be all over Saros if they are even able to make the playoffs this year, because their goaltending is so bad. Montreal wants Stamkos. So I think they set themselves up where it's not a good thing for the fans, because the season's over before Thanksgiving. But I think after Thanksgiving and the trade deadline coming up, they're going to be a completely different franchise. And with the prospects like Martin and Wood and the guys that play north-south hockey, which is the way I think the Predators fans like the teams to play, they can make themselves very big overnight and make themselves a contender within 2 years. But right now, it's dim.
Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate the call. We'll be joined by Gentry Estes from the Tennessean coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Predator situation, his thoughts on the Titans in the aftermath of the loss to Houston on Sunday. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and welcome in our friend Gentry Estes from the Tennessean to the program. Gentry, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. Good to be back with you.
Good to have you with us. Appreciate you taking time to join us. There's a lot to talk about. So Gentry, let's start on the Preds. They're 6-10-4 through 20 games. They have the second worst record in the NHL right now by the numbers. And this is one of the few breaks in the schedule, Gentry, where they don't play a lot of hockey. Like they're off till Saturday, and then they're right back into playing basically every other day. So, I've thrown it out there. Like if firing Andrew Brunette is on your radar from a scheduling standpoint, this kind of makes sense that it would be a time to do it. Now, they didn't do it yesterday, so we'll see what happens. But what do you make of kind of where things stand on that front with Andrew Brunette?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think for a while now, you've kind of looked at the schedule and said, okay, if it doesn't get any better, that's what you're looking at. And, it just feels like, Robby, if they don't do it now, when would they?
Right.
Or are they just determined to ride this out again through the end of the year? And, look, I whatever it is they've been trying to make happen with this group, it's just not happening. And we saw it last season, and then you go into a new season where they don't really change anything and they're anything drastic, and there isn't really a reason to look at them and say, all right, they're definitely going to be better for this reason. They spent the whole preseason talking about tweaks and chips on the shoulder, and we're angry. That's why it's going to get. No, it didn't get better, and it's not going to magically get better with this group. So I think the Preds, unfortunately for them, have fallen into a similar situation as the football team in town, where things are pretty bad, and they're only going to get better with patience, and people aren't going to want to hear that.
Well, since you said it that way, Gentry, that brings up a question. Right now, at this moment, with the Titans and Preds, you have to pick one that, in a couple years, in a relatively reasonable period of time, will be a winning team again. Which one you going with?
Ooh.
Oh boy.
I feel like it. Honestly, Joe, up until recently, I would have said the Preds, because I feel like when you look at them right now, they do have more talent than the Titans. I mean, clearly, there's some of the players they have out there. It's not a complete wasteland like it's become over at St. Thomas. But I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe it would be the Titans, only because the Preds are in a position where they're between two generations here, and there was really nothing in the middle. You got a lot of good young players, and they're going to be good, and these guys are coming on, but they're not ready yet. And then a group that's in its 30s, and it's getting to be about time to go ahead and move on from it. And there was a stretch there where they just got nothing out of a lot of their draft picks, ended up moving on from some of these guys, the Ellie Tolvanens, the Tomasinos, guys like that. So it might take a minute. And also, you guys referenced it in the NHL, when you see some of these rebuilds that have taken so long. I think what your fear in Nashville would be, what happens if they end up wandering the desert for a long time, and all of a sudden it hurts the crowds at Bridgestone and that kind of thing. So I don't know if the Preds would be committed to that kind of thing, but I don't know. I mean, there's something that they've kind of tried to force this, and it's just not happening.
My answer is Titans too. Like I'm strongly Titans on that.
Well, I don't know how you could be strongly Titans on that.
Well, I mean, I don't feel great about either of them, but I'm just saying I think that's the answer.
Okay,
it's the NFL. The NFL is just the NFL. You can flip things. In the NFL, you can flip things.
Look, the Titans can hire the right
well, that is true. The Titans are capable of
completely horribly run franchise.
Yes, that is.
Yeah,
true.
The Titans hire the right coach. They get a few draft picks at key spots. It's not that. Yeah, and Cam Ward comes on in year 2 or 3. It's not that far-fetched to think that the team could get back to winning 6-7 games.
So how are you feeling about this if you're Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi? Because everybody's going to, obviously O'Reilly, and people are going to talk about Stamkos, and people may talk about Sara. Like, all these things are going to come up if this goes the way we think it will with the Predators this year, and in terms of selling people off, Mark Sasobi included in that too. if you're Roman Yossi, who I think we can all agree is kind of nearing the end here of his career, Philip Forsberg, who's not nearing the end of his career, but he is in his 30s now. You're looking at the landscape. You've got complete control over where you are and where you go at this point. Do you hang it out and stick around here? Like, what do you make of that from the two franchise players that have been around for a long time here at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume they would want to stay, but I guess you don't know for sure. I mean, how much does it mean to go play for a cup again and really have a chance to win one? I mean, you never really know. Some of these deals, though, I mean, like you've talked, you'll hear people ask, gosh, would you trade UC Saros? Heck yeah, you'd trade UC. You would do that tomorrow to get out of this deal. To me, that was probably the biggest misstep that Trotz has made is signing Saros to this big deal that didn't even start for a year. And you went with him instead of the young goalie, who I think is going to be pretty good. And I think if you can move on from that deal, that's a big step. And maybe, and obviously Stamkos and some of these others, but it would be difficult when you're talking about the stalwarts, the guys that have been here a long time, and you've, and that's, I guess, like the final frontier in a big rebuild would be to move on from those guys. I'm not sure they'd get there, and I'm not sure they'd want to go.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I think if it goes the way it looks like it's going to go, it's like, obviously they'd have to be on board, but also, man, I can't. And those guys are going to probably be here forever, right? It's going to at least be their U.S. home and all that stuff long term. But at the same time, do you want to be playing your last days for what this franchise might be? It's going to be interesting. Some grim Preds talk today. Well, let's go to the sunshine of the Titans, Gentry. Much better outlook there. So Cam Ward, he seems to be this. It really does seem to me more and more. It's like the sunshine blowers find the good every week, and the demand excellencers find all the faults every week, and we have these like totally different views of him. When to me, it's kind of like, I think I think you see something there, and you see a lot of improvement needed. Where are you on him?
I'm in the sunshine group, and I've been told that, and I kind of have been most of the time. To me, I'm grading on a curve with this only because it's like, what did we expect from the guy? I know he's the number 1 overall pick, but he's coming into a situation where the team's just awful. He's got no receivers. They're having to – this last game, they couldn't run the ball. They haven't been able to run the ball consistently most of the year. You're asking this kid coming in from college to his first NFL experience and saying, all right, save this whole thing. Go save this team, Cam. And I think given the circumstances, I think the guy's played pretty well. Has he been spectacular? No. There's been flaws. There's things with the mechanics. There are criticisms that are fair and things he's going to need to work on. But I like what I've seen from the guy in terms of how he's handled himself and in terms of I think his teammates respond to him. I think he's been a good presence in the locker room. I think there's a lot of things that could have gone sideways for a lot of rookie quarterbacks put in this situation. I just like his demeanor. He's handled things well. I think it's the opposite of a guy like Will Levis, who got too high and too low. And I don't think that was good necessarily for an NFL team that wasn't very good. I don't think it was a good fit. For Cam Ward, I think it actually has been a good fit. It's just they're so bad. Nobody was going to come in and save this. So the rest of the season, if he's able to gradually improve, then I think that's a win, about as good a win as I think the Titans could have.
So, Gentry, what do you make of where things stand on the Vanderbilt front right now? You've got an opportunity here starting this week against Kentucky and then finishing against Tennessee to go 10-2. Oklahoma just took down Alabama over the weekend, which was not a good development on the Vanderbilt front. So what do you make of where things stand right now for Vanderbilt and their pursuit for the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, that Alabama loss, that was a biggie. And there were a couple other results on Saturday that you look at it from Vandy's standpoint and you just wince and say, I don't know. I think that the first step would be, look, you need to go win in Knoxville, and you haven't had a lot of success against Tennessee, and I don't think anybody would assume that's about to just happen. That So first you got to get through that. But the idea of Vanderbilt winning that Tennessee game, going 10-2, and still being locked out of the playoff that's a tough thing for Vanderbilt. I mean, that really is. Can you imagine a scenario where you have the best team you've ever had, first ever 10-win season in school history, and you lose at Alabama and at Texas, both games pretty close, and that's what keeps you out of the playoff? I think that is where we're headed. That is what it looks like is going to happen. You never know. A lot of results can fall certain ways, and you can get in. But this is what we all signed up for with college football right now, where it's not going to be consistent year after year. And one year Tennessee can go lose at Arkansas and get in, and the next year Vanderbilt goes 10-2 and they don't. And I would hate it for Vanderbilt if it falls that way, but the odds really are against them at this point. And quite honestly, a lot of it didn't have anything to do with what they did.
I just want to go back to the Titans real quick. Apparently I have Titans fever today.
Hey,
which is
it's a nice change of pace.
Which is more like gonorrhea, but I just have to get your take, Gentry, on the Simmons. You know, the Simmons call out. We got Arden Key and Jihad Ward talking about these young kids these days don't want to listen. And I don't know. It seems like people are subtweeting J.C. Latham, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that. Where do you come down on this whole thing?
You know, I heard Simmons in there, and it was one of those that it was like, it isn't really what he said. It was just the way he said it. You know, and that's one of the – Joe, you've been in enough of these interviews where I came away from it thinking people are going to make a big deal out of this, and I think when they go back and listen to it, he didn't really say much. But it was the passion in which he said it. You know, Simmons sounded fed up. And, I'll be honest, as somebody who's been covering this team the last couple of years, it was about time. It was about time somebody got fed up. And he was probably the most likely to be that guy. I've actually been impressed with Jeffrey Simmons this year. I think not just with how he's played on the field, but I think his leadership really has come on this year. A lot of what people wanted from him a year ago, he started to show a lot more of it this season. I think he's responding also. You had the GM of the team go in front of the media a couple of weeks ago and explain in detail why he wanted to keep Jeffrey Simmons, and Jeffrey showed it after this game. It was this kind of response is what they want from him, and I think he's, trying to be that guy. Is it going to help anything with the team? No. But, it's good to see someone voicing frustration. There's certainly a lot of it outside the team.
Yep, no doubt about that. Gentry, great stuff as always. Sorry for the depressing conversation this morning, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Gentry Estes, our guest on Robby
what
and Rexrode.
What sucks more, Gentry?
We will discuss Rexrode's undying faith in the Tennessee Titans coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Preds fans, Smashville Live returning tomorrow night at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue at 6 o'clock. See your Preds star players up close and personal. Your chance for autographs and pictures tomorrow night at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue, and only on 102.5 The Game. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up later this hour at 7:45, taking your thoughts, your reaction to Gentry. In the meantime, 615-737-1025. We learned Rexrode, a lot of faith in the Titans moving forward in the last segment.
Huge.
Says it's not even really close, he doesn't think, between the Titans and the Preds as to who's going to be a winning team first. Joe, I admire your optimism.
Again, that's not optimism. That is that's playing the odds. That's playing the odds of the NFL versus the NHL. I don't see how the Preds are headed toward anything but a pretty prolonged downturn. I don't. I'd love to be wrong. Some more of these young guys. I mean, like you said, Matthew Wood, very promising. Needed to see that.
Yep.
How's Kemmel doing? Kemmel, yeah.
I mean, they just called him up, didn't
back
play
down.
him, and now he's back down.
Sent back down. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are young guys in this organization over the years. That's like, all right, and then it's like, so they might be okay. They might be good enough to play in the NHL. Okay, so I just don't see how, barring some more tremendous developments, a little bit of luck. Again, I guess really the decision to let's get back out there and let's be competitive. We have to win, and then you figure out how to win. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think the right way to go is to kind of strip it down here. And so if that's the case in this league, it's going to take a while. In the NFL, are the Titans incompetent enough to keep screwing it up and just continue to just trip on themselves over and over again? Sure.
Yep.
But I'm playing the odds of the league, which is way easier to quickly turn things around.
That makes sense. It makes sense. It's hard for me to get there with the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Right
not optimistic. I just know what league they're in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, Cam Ward may come out next August in training camp and like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. They may go hire some coach that's a genius, and then maybe things change pretty quickly. Like the philosophy of what you're saying makes sense because let's say I mentioned the Predators, not only where they are as a team, but what they're going up against. Like the Western Conference is loaded. It is loaded, and it is hard. It's a hard hill to climb what they're looking at right now. So it all makes sense. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that there's an end to this anytime soon for either one of them. Like it's bad with both of these teams right now.
It is, which is why this Alan says, hey, I really enjoy the gonorrhea reference there. But also the background music today should be Everybody Hurts by REM because this has been the most depressing start to the day in a long time.
I'm sorry. I mean, we're trying to sort through it here together. Trying to sort through it.
As Alex points out, Riker Lee looking good. Riker Lee's doing some ridiculous stuff with Michigan State hockey right now.
Yeah, he looks good.
I mean,
when's he going to be here?
Yeah, I don't know. But
how's Milwaukee doing? How the Admirals this year?
Yeah, Rexrode. How many games have you watched?
Well, I usually like record them and do the fast forward thing. I don't like watch them in real time. I only have so many hours in a day.
That's true.
So like I watch most of them, but I just kind of watch it. I fast forward through it.
Okay. I mean, if you're wondering, they're 8-2-2, so it's pretty good.
Get excited! It's all coming together. No, look with the Titans. I mean, Cam Ward just has to get better. He has to get better, get to the point, where he could be like pretty good next year. They make a good coaching hire. They have a really good draft. They get the number one pick. They trade out of that. They get much picks. They have good free agent signings. Like, I mean, there are plenty of examples just recently in the NFL of a terrible team one year becoming a winning team the next year. I mean, the Commanders get to the NFC Championship. They're back to crap now, largely because I think of an injury, but still it goes up and down way easier in this league. And so I'm telling you right now, the Titans would not have to have some superhuman, outrageous offseason. They'd have to have a great offseason, and they could be a team knocking on the door of 7-8 wins next year.
Yeah, but you said winning team. I mean,
yes.
To me, that implies winning record.
Well, no. I know. That's what I'm saying. So then if you continue to build on that and you did make a good coaching hire and Cam Ward does keep getting better, then you could be a winning team by 27.
I mean, the YouTube chat's like, Preds could get Gavin McKenna in the draft this year.
Well,
and
there you go.
all of a sudden, changes some things around. I mean, first off, I don't look. We're not getting into NHL draft talk right now. We're not going to do it. Gavin McKenna is going to be a pretty darn good player in the NHL. It would be a very Predators thing to get him, which is nothing wrong with that. I'd sign up for it right now if I were the Predators. Yeah, I mean, he is pretty exclusively a winger, which is also just like, oh, okay, of course he is.
But still,
but he's going to be a great player.
Yeah,
he's going to be a great player. So yeah, I would take that right now if you're the Predators. It just there's so much. The more you get, like in the general landscape of Nashville sports, there's so much riding on this next coaching hire for the Titans. I can't get away from it. Like, you got to hire the right guy for your next coach, because the fan, as we have learned today, as we've sorted through all this crap, fan bases are down bad right now with the Titans. I mean, look, the stadium was half empty the other day against the Texans. The crowd's been fine at Bridgestone Arena for the most part. There have been a couple nights where it's been like, not great in here. That's going to continue, I would guess, as the season goes along here and things don't turn around for them. But we're getting to the point where if you're a crossover fan between the Titans and the Preds, it's like, whew, how much more of this can I take around here?
Save some money.
Yeah.
I mean, save some money and use it somewhere else. I mean, I guess I'm trying to find the upside here.
Let's go to our phone line. Welcome in David to the program. David, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. Speaking of the Preds, I'm not quite wearing the full bag over my head yet. I'm like that villain Two-Face. I think I have a half bag on, depending on what night they play. But for me, and this has been the same issue that I've watched over the last few years with them, they're just so dang sloppy. I mean, I think it's an easy fix. When you watch, whether we're playing the Stars or the Penguins, the amount of puck movement and control and passing by those teams is superb. That's what I would expect from an NHL team. But when I watch the Preds, it is so sloppy. It just makes you so mad. Anyway, I'll hang up. Thanks for your show. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. We're going to get into some college football coming up next. James Franklin has found his next stop. We will get into that. And boy, is the rumor mill going with Lane Kiffin right now. We'll get into all that. It's a wild time for coaches in college football. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe James Franklin has found his next home. It's been rumored for a while now at this point, but now official. Virginia Tech, the next stop for James Franklin. So he goes
Let's go, Hokies!
Vanderbilt to Penn State, and now to Virginia Tech, your beloved Hokies. What do we make of that hire?
I mean, I'm pumped, man. And my brother, who is a Hokies grad, who is a much more intense, message board reading, recruiting, following fan than me, is very excited. A couple of his buddies are down on this. I'm like, guys, do you have a little bit of self-awareness here? This is a huge hire for Virginia Tech. A huge hire for Virginia Tech.
Speaking of self-awareness, we'll get to some of that with another fan base on him later.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it's a great hire. Arkansas was after Franklin, apparently, reportedly, and I think he probably was hoping that LSU and Florida might be, and we know who they're after. But
we do.
But with him, look, I love the move, and I think it's a way better move than going to Arkansas. First of all, he already recruits. I mean, he has really made a living at Penn State recruiting the areas of Virginia that used to be dominated by Virginia Tech. I mean, he has great, and there's still, like, for all the other things that happen in college football, high school recruiting still very important. And if you have connections and you have pipelines built and relationships built, yeah, that's good. Now you can keep that going. Virginia Tech has, like a lot of these schools, has realized, well, either we're going to put way more money into this or we're going to suck and become irrelevant and get relegated at some point whenever what happens in college football happens. So here we go. We're going to put the money in. James Franklin raises money. He came here and he raised money. He wins. He recruits. Yes, he couldn't beat Ohio State. And he didn't do all that well against Michigan either, but especially Ohio State.
Yeah.
Well, there's no Ohio State in the ACC. So get out of the SEC, get out of the Big Ten, go to the ACC, where Clemson is fading, where Florida State is. I have no idea what the heck is going on with them. Tell me who, Miami has a lot of talent. They're going to be good, but there's nobody in the ACC to me that is like, oh, this is an insurmountable obstacle. No, I think it's a brilliant hire for Virginia Tech, and it's a great move for him. And I just think he's still young. He just got fired from a place that, he didn't win the big one, and this year was a disaster. But I think he's a motivated coach, and I know a lot of people don't like James Franklin, and that's fine. Personally, that's fine. He's a good football coach. This is going to be – I'm excited for Virginia Tech, man.
Some Arkansas fans were mad, man. They were mad. They're like, I can't believe he picked Virginia Tech over Arkansas. And I was like, okay, what is Arkansas? Like Arkansas? Like, you think you're that much better than Virginia Tech?
I mean, let's go back.
I understand it's the SEC, but
yeah, but no, that's ridiculous. I mean, go back to the father of your favorite sports figure. Go back to his era and what Virginia Tech did consistently, including almost winning the national championship in 1999. Tell me the last time Arkansas almost won the national championship.
They were like,
what?
It's an abomination that he would choose Virginia Tech over Arkansas. And I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Beamer era at Virginia Tech, Frank, not Shane.
Oh, we know. They actually won.
Yeah, my brother had classes with Shane. He likes him about as much as you do.
Yeah.
Stunning
that's the revelation when people were around it.
But the Beamer era at Virginia Tech is way beyond like any era. I mean, we'll have to go back to Frank Broyles and compare the two. Yeah. No, it's and again, the clearer path to the playoff. Why does that not matter?
100%.
Now people will say, well, we're going to get more resources, and that's fair. I mean, but I think what we see here with college football is, even in leagues where you don't get the same rights deals and all that and the same amount of money, like, you're going to get the money for football, right? I mean, it's other stuff that's going to suffer at these places, I think, increasingly as we move along. Indiana has figured out, oh, yeah, we have to put all this money into football. We never have before, but we have to. And so now that's Indiana, the Big Ten. But I think in the ACC, the Big 12, it's still these schools where if you want to compete nationally, you have to be comparable financially.
On the other side of this, in terms of the coaching world in college football right now, so Lane Kiffin, apparently LSU and Florida have been pursuing him, which is not a huge surprise, but I guess his family has been touring Gainesville and Baton Rouge. So there's that while the season is going on. There's all this stuff around where Pete Nakos from On 3 is reporting that Ole Miss has given Lane Kiffin an ultimatum that he needs to have some clarity on what he's doing with the job this week. So you got all that swirling around with Kiffin. By the way, they're in the middle of a college football playoff race. I think are pretty squarely going to be in the college football playoff, barring some unforeseen loss to Mississippi State at the end of the year here. So what do we make all that swirling around with Kiffin right now with, clearly LSU and Florida are trying to get him, trying to land him. Meanwhile, he's at Ole Miss in a good situation in a college football playoff race, and Ole Miss is trying to figure out what in the world's going on with him.
Good for Ole Miss, because you can't do this, man. And this isn't the fault of Lane Kiffin or any of these coaches that we have the calendar the way we do. But it's just how, you can't, Brian Kelly went to LSU, he went to LSU, and Notre Dame was number 5. They were on the outside looking in, but it still was possible that they could have gotten in. They didn't. But that was a big thing. You can't sit here and be a lame duck coach for a playoff run, right? I'm sorry. Just make a decision, man. And of course, if he does make that decision, now that'll be interesting. If he decides to bail, but I think that and so you said it before the show. Okay, so they give him an ultimatum. So what
does that mean?
What are they actually
going
to
to fire him?
Yeah. No, but I think it's public. It is the public. It's fair. Everybody out here. Okay, tell us. Fan base. Everybody's going nuts about this for weeks now, and it's fair. And he needs to address it. The other day he's like, well, it wouldn't even be fair to my players to let's not disrespect them by talking about this. Yeah, it's enough, man. We all know what's going on. Make your choice. Make your choice. And I think if he makes the choice of going, then I think it's gonna be an interim coach in the playoff. Yeah. Well, and some of them think that apparently Ole Miss fans think Pete Golding is going to be the replacement anyway, and that they won't miss a beat. And so we'll see. But yeah, that'd be wild. But
really, they would be that bad where you don't think they'd let him coach out the rest of the year?
Well, the thing is, man, you know how distracted now you're going to be if you're him at LSU or Florida. Now you're trying to
I know,
get yourself ready for next year. Yeah. How do you? Yeah. I'm sorry, but how do you let the guy keep coaching you in the playoff when he's now going to try to take players from you for Florida or LSU?
Jeremy Pruitt coached in the national championship game for Alabama when he was the head coach of Tennessee. I don't know.
Yeah, but as a coordinator.
What's the difference?
Oh, there's a difference.
He's still he's trying to get players from you.
Yeah, but he's not the head coach trying to get players from you, right?
He is the head coach of Tennessee at the time.
Right. But he's not the head coach of your school. Sure. There's a difference.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Not that big a difference. I understand we're talking about Jeremy Pruitt and Lane Kiffin, so there's a difference in quality of coach immediately. But
and again, he was going to a lesser place from a better place, right? So in this case, he's going from Ole Miss to one of those places where it's probably going to be easier to take players from you, right? Was Nick Saban worried that what Pruitt was going to take from him? No,
I don't think he was.
This is like okay, you are now an enemy. This is an act of aggression. You're freaking fingernail or your eyeball thing doesn't work in the building anymore.
It's interesting. I don't remember a situation quite like this one in college football.
Right, but this is what the calendar is now going to give.
Yeah.
We'll probably have more, like this. And again, it's look, it's very simple. Signetti, Rhett Lashley. We're going to see here on Clark Lee. I'm expecting, I'm waiting on hearing something there. Sign your extension, tell everybody that's it. I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. If not, okay, that happens too. But if not, and you're a playoff team, then it gets really complicated.
Well, what do you do if you're the committee with that? What if Kiffin's not the coach of Ole Miss anymore? What do you do with that? 2 years ago, they penalized Florida State for not having their quarterback. What about a head coach?
Players play the games, man. Coaches don't play the games.
You're telling me there's not a difference between Lane Kiffin being the head coach at Ole Miss and not being the head coach?
I'm not telling you there's not a difference, but do you think that compares to losing your quarterback?
Well, no, but I mean, you could definitely make the argument that they are not as good if Lane Kiffin is not their head coach.
Yeah. Not good enough that the committee's going to be like, you're out of the playoff now?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Like, how do you seed them? It's like, well, here they are. They're 11-1 or whatever they are, but now their head coach is gone, who's been responsible for building the program. What do you do with that if you're the college football playoff committee?
Yeah. My guess is they'd probably say like that it doesn't have that much impact on it, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth discussing.
Man, you're paying coaches a lot of money that don't have a lot of impact on it.
Yeah. I mean, they're paying them a lot of money for like to build a program, right? But that's to put together a team, to put in a system, to put in a scheme. I mean, you can have.
I think a big part of Lane Kiffin's appeal is also how good of a play caller he is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a discussion. Maybe it would drop him a little bit.
It's interesting.
Yeah. The whole thing is.
Look, LSU and Florida pursuing him is not a surprise. I think we all knew that was going to happen. The fact that his family is apparently just taking plane rides to Baton Rouge and Gainesville while all this is going on is pretty wild.
Well, yeah, especially after, he's talked about how, we finally found our home. This is it. Yeah, I got to stay here. Like, all right, go find us a better neighborhood in Gainesville.
A lot of Ole Miss fans on Twitter last night, Joe, were tweeting out the picture of Kiffin in the hallway at Tennessee where he's got just been over. It's like, all Tennessee fans are like, yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? Don't you like it? He's a great guy, isn't he?
Well, this is it, man. I'm kind of rooting for Lane to decide, screw it, man. I'm just gonna stay at Ole Miss.
He keeps tweeting. He tweeted again this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Random quotes.
Good.
So he's having fun with it. Well, the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
What kind of difficulties in the game plan for you does that create going up against a team that really cranks it up to 11 against great rushing attacks?
I'll siphon gasoline through, your tailpipe. Yeah, like siphoning gas out of teammates' trucks in the parking lot. I love him.
What do you want me to do? Hug and kiss him?
I love him, and I'm not going to stop loving him.
And it's always everybody else. I love y'all.
He's an absolute clown.
It's okay to laugh. It's early in the morning.
Kids, don't listen to me.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Rex Rode, a big proponent of siphoning gas on the program, which has come up apparently multiple times.
That's so weird. I didn't know that. That's freaky. Also, who was it? Who was given the quote that go to 11 on the pass rush?
Someone's asking. That was a question to Lane Kiffin when he was at Alabama.
Yeah. Oh,
I think it was said MSU, so maybe Mississippi State, maybe Michigan State.
It could have been before the playoff against Michigan State.
Yeah, he said.
Was that me?
Ezekiel.
Turn it up to 11.
He brought up Ezekiel Elliott in the thing. He said, "Well, hopefully we'll give the ball more to Derek than they did to Elliott."
Yeah.
About Ohio
That
State.
was then. That was going to the playoff. Can you play that again? Do you have that?
I have the whole
isolated?
clip. Yeah, I can play the whole clip if you want.
I mean, I can just make this my rant. Like, try to figure out who made the awesome reference to Spinal Tap to Lane Kiffin 10 years ago.
Michigan State, their defense that's really stepped it up against some of the top rushing attacks in the country. What kind of difficulties in the game plan for you does that create going up against a team that really cranks it up to 11 against great rushing attacks?
Dude, who was that?
You know who that sounds like? And it's probably not him. That sounds like our buddy Mike Wilson. That's exactly who that sounds like. But I don't think it's him.
Try it again, please.
Sounds a little bit like him.
I think Mike covered that game. Yes.
Michigan State, their defense that's really stepped it up against some of the top rushing attacks in the country. What kind of difficulties in the game plan for you does that create going up against a team that really cranks it up to 11 against great rushing attacks?
They played some good back.
I don't know.
I don't think that's Mike. You're right. It sounds like Mike.
It does.
Damn. I mean, I was probably at that press conference, like,
Hey,
punk.
good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016.
Scrolling Twitter hungover like an idiot. All right.
Siphoning gas.
Yeah, siphoning gas. So a good way to get a hangover. What a weird obsession. Siphoning gas. Okay. Okay. Shador or Vandy? I have two
you want to do.
rants
This
in
is
my.
your rant.
Just one of you guys tell me what to do.
Shador. Go Shador.
Okay, Shador. All right, we can talk about the Vandy. We have all week to get into the Vandy stuff. All right, so let Shador Sanders. This continues to be the stupidest conversation in sports. Anyone who says that he was like set up to fail or there's a conspiracy against him, that they're not giving him first team reps, please try to look into how the NFL works. Like people, your third string, fourth string, whatever, your backup quarterback doesn't get first team reps. They work on the scout team during the week. Do you not know this? Do you not understand that, like, Shador Sanders last week, just like any other quarterback in his position, during practice, he's like, he is actually impersonating Lamar Jackson to give the defense a look. That's how it works, okay? Also, if you're someone who watched him suck the other day when he came in cold off the bench for the first time playing, and he did suck in a few snaps. He threw a bad pick. He made a couple completions, whatever. He did throw one nice pass to the end zone that could have been a TD, wasn't caught. But if you're making that, if you're on the other side of the argument, as Shador Sanders, like, see, he sucks. Let me repeat. He had no first team reps. He was doing the scout team stuff. He was not prepared. It's a hard position for anyone to go into. That's why veteran backups are kind of good to have, because they've been around. They've had a certain amount of reps banked with the team's offense. They have some experience. They can come in and at least give you a chance. A rookie backup trying to do that stuff, it's about as bad a situation you can have. So again, if you think that this is some hugely unfair thing for Shador out there, shut up. If you think that the other day was some big referendum on Shador and proves anything, shut up. All of you, shut up.
4 of 16, 47 yards and a pick for Shador the other day.
Yeah, I mean, he looked bad. But again, he's going to, I think
quarterback rating of 13.5.
Thank you. So you're on that side.
No, I'm reading the numbers. That's all I'm doing.
And like Josina Anderson is like tweeting out like, look at this amazing play.
Against
What?
all odds, he completed the 3rd and 10 pass. That was like a 2-yard air pass that Jerry Jeudy made
Right.
4 guys
Jerry
miss.
Jeudy had an incredible run. I was like, wow, Shador, great job. Like just, and I understand like apparently she's become like the people who hate Shador and want him to fail have it's like them against Josina Anderson who are like way exaggerate all of the stuff he's gone through and how good he is.
Yeah.
I was like, all of you stop.
Yeah.
But he's gonna. I
They're
continue
talking about him on ESPN right now.
Oh, great. Look, and obviously there's been too much talk about him in general, but it's okay. Every once in a while you throw in a rant. He's going to start, I think, this week, right?
I guess
against the Raiders, which is, I mean, that's if
not
you're
a bad team to
that's
start
not a
against.
bad team to start against. So he's good. So this week, for the first time since seriously, like, and he was way down the depth chart in camp. So this week he's going to get reps with the first team. Good for him. That should help him. Also, that's how it works. That's when you get those. That's how the NFL works. So I think it's fair this week to see how he looks. I continue to say I have not changed. I would never have taken Shedeur Sanders with the number 1 pick. Shedeur Sanders is certainly better talent than a 5th-round pick. He obviously screwed up the pre-draft process severely. But I still think that he's the most talented guy who came out from this draft class. And I understand how good Jackson Dart looks right now. And I'm not giving up on Cam Ward. I think Shedeur has talent, and I think he's got a chance to be a good quarterback in this league, but we'll see.
The Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders game still very possible here in a few weeks. We could see it December 7th in Cleveland.
Wow. Can you
2 more
imagine?
weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
2 games. Yep.
It's not like Dylan Gabriel's look good, but
He's
again,
been terrible.
Yeah, but again, like they suck.
They play for Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the
Yeah,
incredible.
he also doesn't have any wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cedric Tillman.
Who
was their leading receiver.
Jerry Jeudy made that one play.
They're making some plays, but yeah, they're very, very bad. They're an incredible defensive team and an atrocious offensive team. So just whatever. It's pointless to even say, let's just wait and see and not scream at each other, because we will do that. Everybody will do that. But I just like to yell at the people who are yelling just to somehow make it better. I'm sure that makes it better.
When he starts against the Raiders this week, will it be better or worse than 4 of 16 for 47 yards?
I will say better.
You may
have
better than that on the first drive.
If not, then we may have a problem here.
615-737-1025. Our phone number 615-737-1025. We will get into the Cam Ward part of this coming up next, including some observations from a trusted Titans voice that are interesting on the Cam Ward front. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Blake Bedingfield, as he does every week, with a really good breakdown on paulkuharski.com of what he's seen from the Titans on a weekly basis. And, he takes, every game, looks at what he liked, what he didn't like, all those things. And some interesting points that he makes on Ward after the Houston game on Sunday. Again, check it out, paulkuharski.com. Says Ward had another fumble. He has gained a reputation now. Going forward in his career, he'll have defenses focused on getting the ball out every time a defender makes contact with him. He's also getting more passes tipped at the line of scrimmage. His lack of height and sidearm angle makes it easier to have defensive linemen tip the balls. Those tip passes are just as effective as having great corners breaking up passes. So a couple things there from Bedingfield on the fumbles becoming a problem for Cam Ward and how that's going to be a major point of emphasis for defenders moving forward in his career. He's gaining a reputation for it, in his words. And then the angle in which he's throwing the ball combined with his height being a problem right now at the line of scrimmage. What do you make of that? And how does Cam Ward overcome those things?
Yeah, well, the fumble thing is interesting. I do feel like he's too easy a fumbler when he gets hit. I think that definitely is something he has to work on. I guess the other side of that, what Blake said about like defenders will focus on that. Like, shouldn't they anyway?
Yeah, I think anytime you're a defender or the quarterback is your target, you're trying to get the ball out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's certainly, obviously that doesn't go into like all the real important stuff when you talk about a quarterback. Like Dave Craig he's a great quarterback. He must have had tiny hands. Boy, he fumbled like an incredible amount. But yeah, it's something you got to work on if you're Cam Ward. The other stuff is, it is not ideal. Like Matthew Stafford is famously like a multiple arm slot quarterback, and he's made some, and sometimes that sidearm thing actually, it gets you actually need to go lower in some situations, right? You need to get around a defender.
Yeah.
You got a defender who's trying to match hands with you high, and you can sidearm it out. So I don't think it's a bad tool to have in the toolbox, but it is like that as a tendency combined with not great height certainly can be problematic. I don't know. Like, I just don't know if like ultimately the priority I would have is what is it that gives you the most accuracy?
Right.
So if it's being Dan Quisenberry out there, I keep making these references to old people, I'm sorry. Then I don't know, do that. And you just have to, you just have to be good about like anticipating rush, trying to give yourself windows to throw it in. So I just don't know if, I don't know if that's like a big concern or a big thing to work on. I think it's more like, can you process, throw the ball accurately, consistently, and be an effective quarterback?
I guess one thing I've noticed is sometimes it looks like the ball is coming out with a sidearm delivery, and there's really no reason for it. I guess that's the thing. Like, I think Stafford's a great example. Stafford largely throws it over the top, but Stafford, if somebody's coming right at him, he can bend it around him. He can sidearm it.
He uses it.
He uses it. Stafford, if you actually watch the guy play, like Stafford, everybody talks about this with Mahomes. Stafford's been doing this forever of looking one way, throwing the ball the other way where he's not looking, and somehow it's just right on the money. Like, he's a freak at that stuff. Like, there was a play where Ward got one batted down the other day against Houston where, the pocket is pretty clean. There's nothing. It's not like he's under a heavy amount of duress. He's letting the ball go, and they showed it on the slow motion replay. It's coming out sidearm, and it just gets swatted right down at the line of scrimmage. And it's like, well, I don't know in that situation that sidearm's really the way to go. You've got a clean pocket. You're trying to, I think he was going for, I think it was Io Manor on the play he was trying to hit. And it's like, well, he's 7 yards away from you. Just throw it over the top and hit it. And he just gets it knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So I have no problem with the ability to throw the ball sidearm. You need it in today's game. at the quarterback level, but like it's knowing when to do it. Like you don't need to be throwing sidearm just for the sake of throwing sidearm. Like when it's time to go over the top and get the ball over the line of scrimmage, that's what you got to do if you're Cam Ward.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like it's just a little bit to an angle sometimes, just as like it's comfortable to him.
Yeah.
To throw it that way. So I mean, that's an interesting one because I still feel like if there's an issue with him, in terms of mechanics, it's about the feet more than anything. That's got to get like consistently cleaned up, because it seems like when they're right, he can throw some tremendous passes. It'll be interesting. That is an interesting thing to track moving forward, is if they try to like kind of eliminate that or just go more straight overhand or whatever. Or, I'm trying to think of quarterbacks who had like a little bit funky releases who were successful in the NFL. No one's really coming to mind, but I'm not thinking of somebody.
I mean, funky releases. I mean, I've said this before. Rodgers completely rebuilt his throwing motion after he got in the NFL, right? Like it's go look at him as a rookie and how he threw the ball, and then go look at him like 4 years later. It's totally different. Like it's not even close to the same.
Yeah.
So you can rebuild it. Like you can do it,
but doesn't happen much.
Doesn't happen much. And Bedingfield also points out, missing Mason Kinsey and Io Manor on wide open explosive yardage passes, which I feel like we talk about every week with Ward. Like it feels like at this point, Joe, every week with Ward, there are a couple throws he makes in the game where you're like, man, that's pretty good. And there are also a couple throws he makes in the game where like an NFL starting quarterback cannot miss that throw.
Yeah.
And that feels like where we're at kind of every week with him right now.
Yes, despite visually challenged Paul Kaharski's contention that Mason Kinsey should have caught that fourth quarter pass. It was a bad pass. I can't wait to argue with Paul about this.
I'm sure he'll love it.
Yeah. Matthew Nashville is wondering if his hands are as small as Kenny Pickett's. Didn't we determine they're 9.5?
I believe 9.5 was the measurement we saw.
So no, they're not absurdly small. That shouldn't be like a big fumbling issue. Dustin said, Hopkinsville said he started dancing at the first reason open, hold the ball way too long. Can't lead guys to the sideline. Pretty decent over the middle, and most of the time deep. He really looks worse than Levis to me if you erase the hero ball stuff. I mean, I think it's similar overall with Levis in terms of kind of the same thing. Just this part of it, which is man, how did you miss that throw? Right? Yeah. Like Levis could make some. I think Cam Ward has made more whoa throws this year than Levis did last year. Probably a similar amount of how did you miss that one? Yeah. What happened with the mechanics there where you missed that one?
Well, I said yesterday it was pretty clear that the quick passing game was a point of emphasis on Sunday against Houston. Bedingfield did a breakdown of it. He threw 21 pass, and this was just where the ball was when the receiver caught it, not where they took it to after. But he had 21 passing attempts of 0 to 5 yards. 21 of his 37 passing attempts were 0 to 5 yards. That's a lot.
Yeah.
6 to 10 yards were another 6. So you're talking at that point, 27 pass attempts within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage.
That's certainly a game plan against a team that you can't block thing for sure. Thank you, Texture, on Phillip Rivers. That was a great example.
Yeah.
He had a weird motion.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, he threw the fastball and painted the corners all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cam Ward, I don't look at his throwing motion and be like, well, he's just doomed, right? Like there's no way he can ever make that work in the NFL. We know about the footwork. I mean, we don't need to talk about the footwork again. The footwork is going to be a work in progress. We talked with that about TD or with TD about that on Friday. I mean, it's probably going to be an extended process where there's a lot of improvement that's going to have to take place in the offseason to where by the time he steps foot on the field next year, it's more second nature and he's not thinking about it at that point.
Yeah.
But that's going to require time.
Ideally. Yeah. You hope that's the case when you're in games that it's that second nature. Thomas from Hendersonville. Wow. It's like we're having the same conversation about Cam we had about Levis. Makes a couple great throws per game and a bunch of boneheaded throws. When will people finally realize no quarterback is going to get better on this team? Well, first of all, there's new coaches coming in, so I mean, there are coaches in this league who can coach quarterbacks. I think.
Well, and
I don't agree about the boneheaded aspect. I think that's where Levis was.
Yeah, I
definitely
think
worse than
Levis had made a few throws per game, not just inaccurately, but were just like decision wise. What are you doing?
Yes,
and I'm not saying
I don't
Ward
think
hasn't done that.
But there aren't that many.
But there's not that many of them. I mean, really, the main problem with Ward and the accuracy of it is just missing wide open guys, which is not good.
Which
Like,
is
don't
not
get me
good.
wrong.
No.
Like, if you can't do that at a much higher level, you're not going to be a starting quarterback in the league for very long. But very few times have I looked at like a Ward passing attempt to someone and been like, man, what in the world are you trying to do?
Or how did you not see that or
Yeah.
anything like that? No. Now, as he admitted last week, and it's definitely not taking some of the stuff where you're going to get your 6-8 yards and instead trying to do something downfield that isn't there. That has been there, but it just hasn't. It's not like the pick six stuff or Levis had way too many of those.
Well, I also wonder
there's a pretty big difference, I think.
Like, how much of it in the back of your mind if you're Ward, and I know you got to get this out of it a little bit just because of where they're at as a team, but like, it's not a secret. Everybody knows how bad they are on offense and how limited they are in terms of the big plays that they can generate. You know, they're an offense that ends up somewhere between like 13 and 18 points every game. That's what it feels like. It's been that way for 3 years. So if you're Ward, I mean, you know that in the back of your mind. It's like, well, I got to try to make something happen down the field because otherwise, what are we going to do? We're going to sit here and how often is the Titans offense going to just matriculate the ball down the field 13 plays?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm sure there's some just like, oh my God, can we just try this? This is excruciating. But, you also, this is where, you can also get explosives on like a DK catch and run. You could, and of course, Ridley's out now. He's a good guy who's like a yard after the catch guy. If you execute some of those plays, you can get explosive that way too. In theory.
Let's head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. How y'all doing this morning?
Good, buddy.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Hey, I just want to say, cause I used to be an expediter, so I used to chase Cessna parts, airplanes in the middle of the night all the time. So I spent most of my time listening to the radio, listening to games and stuff. So I have a very, very good feel of that. But last night, I watched the Raiders play last night against Dallas, and I'm saying to myself, how in the world did they beat the Titans? How did they put up 20 points against the Titans? I just realized something that we're really at a low point as far as organizational with the team, as far as the players, as far as the coach. And how do y'all think we can get out of this? This is terrible. And, I know y'all talk about all the time, and I know y'all don't want to be talking bad about the team and stuff like that. But how can they get a come up? Because what I seen last night and how Dallas dragged the Raiders last night and the Titans let them beat them like that. And y'all have a good day, and thank you. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day. See y'all later.
Appreciate it. I mean, I will say, you watch the Raiders, and it's like, whoa, terrible. They're bad. And then there's the Titans.
Vrabel lost to them too. I just like to point that out.
He did.
Week one's always wild.
Have some of that. Vrabel.
Don't make excuses for him.
Have some of
The
that.
Titans covered against the Broncos week one also.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
And then look at Denver beating KC.
Yeah. Beating everyone right now. It's kind of wild. We got a lot of your thoughts to get to on the Cam Ward front. We'll do that next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on Cam Ward and the Titans, 615-737-1025. Mike on the text line says, this conversation about Ward has reinforced what I've been thinking. The Titans should hire a defensive-minded head coach, then hire an experienced offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. What are your thoughts on that? I've said it before. I don't really care the style of coach that they hire. Like, you know, after Vrabel was fired, and once we sorted through the minutia of that, and, you know, we talked about it at the time. Not a very smart move by the Titans. I think it's kind of played out that way. But I said it after that. I was like, well, you got Levis. You need to go in there and get one of these offensive guys. Like, you need to go get an offensive head coach. And to their credit, they did. They got an offensive head coach. Did not work out well. Now, just because Brian Callahan didn't work, to me, it shouldn't eliminate anything from your thought process. Like, I would interview Joe Brady. I would interview some of these coordinators. That doesn't mean you have to hire them, but I'd interview them. Mm-hmm. I think reading between the lines, Joe, if you heard Borgonzi in his presser a couple weeks ago, I mean, he didn't want to talk about the coaching search. The one thing he did say about the coaching search was, we need a leader. And that doesn't have to be a guy that's done it before. Doesn't have to be a guy that's been a head coach. But I think that's probably where I would lean of where they're going to end up, is a guy with head coaching experience. We brought up Saleh. We brought up a lot. I mean, we know the names that we brought up there. I don't think you have to pigeonhole yourself to one specific type of guy if you're the Titans in this coaching search, though.
Yeah, I generally disagree with the text. Not that I'm not saying you have to have an offensive coach, but I mean, you have to have a good coach who's a good overall CEO coach, and whether he's offensive or defensive, he needs to then hire good coordinators.
Yeah.
And again, with Brian Callahan, which would be very interesting to see where things go for him, you know, from here for him. But the rookie head coach with the rookie coordinators, somebody, and look, also here's one, like, I don't remember like a lot of complaints from the media on that at the time. So like, there's like, to be fair, but I think someone probably should have stepped in there and said, are we sure we want to do this? I understand that in their mind, the veteran coach that you bring in, like Sean McVay, right? He immediately gets that job. Wade Phillips, you're my DC. You just have the defense. That's you. You have the defense. Vrabel comes in, and even though he's a defensive guy, he got Dean Pease. You know, I think it's really important to have a experienced coordinator. Like if you're a young coach, especially. Theirs was Bill Callahan, but it's just, you know, he's also the coach's father. And anyway, that was all a bad idea. Yeah. I think there's a lot of different combinations that could work here. You just have to have good coaches. You're going to have people who know how to develop quarterbacks, whether you have a defensive coach with an offensive coordinator. Yeah, you're going to have people who know how to do it, but can they get the most out of him? Can they put together game plans and schemes that maximize him? Do you have players who can make plays?
And one texter says you have to get an offensive coach, or if your OC, if successful, gets poached. Whatever. Like,
yeah.
I mean, look, I understand that thought process. You know, Mike McDonald looks like he's going to be a pretty darn good hire for the Seattle Seahawks. Probably going to get his OC poached at one point.
Yep.
You can't tell me that was a bad hire by Seattle. Like, I'll worry about the OC part of it later. Hire the right head coach. And then hopefully part of hiring the right head coach also means that if he does get his offensive coordinator fired or poached from another team, you can then go hire another offensive coordinator. Like, you need to be able to trust your coach to do that.
Yeah. And also, like, you need to be able to develop coaches in your program, and then have people at times, like your quarterback's coach, can elevate to OC, and you cannot miss a beat. That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, that's not why, to me, you have to get an offensive coach. No, you don't. Like, look around the league. There are defensive coaches who are successful.
Well, and look, if you got the offensive coach and he was a good coach, is a bonus of that the fact that you don't really have to worry about somebody hiring your OC away or your play caller away? Sure. I mean, that's why, you know, a lot of teams went that route.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
You know, if that's, you know, whether it's Mike McCarthy or whoever, like if you look at head coaching options out there and they just happen to also call plays, that's fine. Just because it didn't work with Brian Callahan doesn't mean it won't work with the next guy. I don't think you don't not hire a defensive head coach because you're scared that if he's good, you're going to lose your offensive coordinator. That's a bad way to operate.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get a better, again, So Vrabel lost his OC after 1 year. It's done pretty well. We don't need to get him at LaFleur with the Packers too much. But I mean, I would argue that he elevated from within, and I would argue he got better offensive coordinating from Arthur Smith than Matt LaFleur. Right?
I would agree.
And then he elevated from within again, and he got worse offensive coordinating. Also, in the middle of that, their offensive line got worse. They made bad draft picks, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it can't be a non-starter. I mean, I'm still putting Robert Saleh at the top of my list.
Big Robert Saleh guy, Joe Rexrode. I'm interested to see how many guys as they cycle through it, because the NFL goes in cycles, right? Like forever, if you breathed in the same general direction as Sean McVay, you got a head coaching job in this league. Well, Kuharski's brought this up. A lot of those guys have been hired. Like a lot of that wave of guys have jobs already in the NFL. The Titans tried the offensive young guru thing. It didn't work out. There are more and more of the offensive young guru guys not working out now. So does it cycle back the other way where the league looks at it and says, well, we need the leader of men, the rah-rah guy, the Dan Campbell types. Like we need that type. I don't know. Like it feels like the NFL does go in cycles that way. And now you've seen recently like Mike McDonald's having a lot of success in Seattle, obviously Vrabel in New England. You've got Dan Quinn, who had a lot of success last year with Washington, even though this year it's fallen apart because of injury, as you've said. But I just wonder if we're cycling back the other way in the NFL right now.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like there's enough examples of just about any kind working and not working right now in the league. Like if Vrabel and Dan Campbell and the Lions aren't, I don't even think they're gonna make the playoffs. But if Vrabel and Dan Campbell met in the Super Bowl, everybody would be like, give me the biggest, brawniest linebacker to coach my team. Again, like Robert Saleh would be like the number one, guy out there. But I think there's enough. I mean, you go around like what I don't even know what's Nick Sirianni's type. I mean, he's just like whatever, some dude. Guess what? You know why he's an awesome coach? Yeah, look at his roster.
It's pretty good.
Does coaching matter? Hell yes, it matters. And I think he's obviously. But look with him. You talk about the OC situation. I mean, obviously they've had major ups and downs, made a mistake hiring one, fired, moved on, changed. Also went and got Vic Fangio, a D coordinator. How much of a difference did that make?
Yeah.
I still would also argue again, they're the most talented team in the NFL.
A lot more of your thoughts to get to on this front. We will do that coming up next. We'll get revisit some of our NFL picks from earlier in the year too. How smart or stupid are we? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. So who is your Super Bowl matchup and your Super Bowl winner this year?
And I've changed, but I'm going with your guys. I'm going Baltimore Ravens, Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl.
Wow. How about that?
Ravens, Packers.
You got the
How
Packers
about
winning?
that? I do not.
Okay.
I have the Ravens winning.
Disappointing.
This is the Ravens' year.
I got Bills and Rams in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
I'm going Bills and Rams. Again, the Stafford part of this makes me really nervous because if he gets hurt or is not healthy the whole time, then I just think there's a limitation of what they can do at the quarterback spot. But the rest of their roster, I think, is really good. There we go. Ravens, Packers before the year for Joe. Still alive, by the way. Ravens are making a push.
I like your Rams pick. The Rams pick is the best pick of those 4 teams.
They're looking good
That were picked. Let me ask you this.
Love how we were all worried about Stafford's back before the year, and now he's probably going to win the MVP. So,
yeah.
Him or Drake May.
You don't like to hear about back stuff, especially at that age.
Yep.
But let me ask you this. Right now, you have to pick one of the 2 teams, the Bills or the Ravens, to make the Super Bowl.
I'd probably still go Bills.
Still go Bills?
It's close.
The Bills D, man. Ooh. But I will say Josh Allen he's probably the MVP, right? Just because he's like you look at what's happened, they've got some injuries on D. Their D looks pretty bad. I mean, their D just went down to like Miami, just torched them.
I think right now it'd be Stafford or May. I mean, Allen's going to be in there for sure.
I guess it's sort of like, I just feel like he may be carrying a flawed team as more than those 2 guys are. But like what often happens is, okay, quarterback of the best team.
Well, it also doesn't help Allen that he won it last year, which, believe it or not, is a thing in the NFL.
Sure. No, it is.
I mean, I know it's your boy here. Brady probably should have won like 8 or 9 MVPs. I think he ended up with like 5. So
is that all?
Yeah. I mean, look, Stafford's having a great year, man. I know he's throwing it to Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So he got a pretty good receiving core. Stafford through 10 games, 8-2, 66% of his passes, 2,557 yards, 7.6 an attempt, 27 touchdown passes, 2 picks. 27-2 is the ratio right now.
Yeah. No, that's
the Adams signing was a good one.
Oh yeah.
That fit. He's a perfect fit with that team.
Oh yeah.
And as a legit number 2 to Puka and a red zone threat.
He's got 10 touchdown catches
already. And him and Stafford, for something, they've just connected right off the bat.
Yeah, that's why really like Seattle the other day really like shut them down like most of the game after a hot start for the Rams, which is pretty impressive for Seattle. Like they got legit D. I think Stafford should be the front runner with those numbers, what they're doing. Like I like Drake May. It's a heck of a story, but he's not playing at that level. He's not playing that, right?
It's pretty close, man.
I mean, I guess look, I can't say that I watch every snap of the Patriots.
Drake May's got a better completion percentage, more yards per attempt.
Well,
he has thrown 5 picks.
He obviously move. He can run.
He can move. Yeah,
he can. He's a weapon with his legs.
Leads the league in EPA. All these fancy numbers we want to get into.
EPA,
yeah.
Does he? Well, I mean, that matters.
He was number 2.
Well, expected points added.
Take that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. And in his defense, you don't have these amazing weapons. You have an old Diggs and you have Hunter Henry's and then you got some, you get Mac Hollins and guys like that who are fine, but he doesn't have the same support around him that Stafford does. So, all right. Indy Ben saying, JT, you know what, Indy Ben?
He's in the race.
I'm for a running back who does extraordinary things. Like, again, if he can, is he on pace? Is he close to a 2,000-yard pace? That's the type of thing that you
it's going to be tight. He's at 11:39 right now through 10 games. So he's not quite on a 2,000-yard pace.
He'd have to go nuts.
But the other thing with him is, I mean, some of his big plays have come in catching the football too. Like he's been good in the receiving game.
No, he's great. He's a great player. But he's probably going to be offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Right. That's just
Daniel Jones will, siphon some of his love, perhaps not as in like an MVP, but just they'll give some credit to
Yeah.
Jones coming in and
It's
being
hard for
able
running
to
back to win.
get all that kind of stuff in line.
Exactly. Hard for running back to win. If he gets 2,000 and he has some more like games like where he like the couple games ago where he just completely dominated and took over a game, then I think it's at least opening up this year where there's not someone having like, obviously last year it was like Lamar and Josh Allen, right?
Yep.
Ridiculous seasons. Right now we'll see. Maybe Stafford does that. If Stafford ends up with like 40 TD passes and 3 picks or something, but I mean, it may not be the ridiculous QB season that sometimes where there's no way anybody else could get in there.
We do have a vote for Bill Cowher as the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. When was the last time Bill Cowher was head coach?
I thought that was like Bill Cowher as an example. That's Bill Cowher as the actual coach?
That's what I'm assuming. Maybe it is as an example.
Yeah, I don't know. Just Bill Cowher with a bicep flex. I don't think Bill Cowher's coach anymore, man.
I don't think so. And to the other part of that, I don't think he's going to come out of retirement and coach the Tennessee Titans after a 20-year absence.
What about I feel like there hasn't been as much talk about Jim Schwartz as you would think maybe there would be, just because of the history. And he's obviously he's been a very good DC in this league. He's been a head coach who didn't have much of a chance given the state of the franchise he was coaching.
I mean, I think he's a good coach. I thought he did a decent job in Detroit as head coach, right? I mean, look, you know better than me the state of that franchise at the time.
Yeah, he did okay.
He was all right. So I think when you factor in with both him and Arthur Smith, you factor in not only the positions that they currently hold, but their history with the franchise, right? Like that's the main thing. It's the history with the franchise. They understand what they're walking into. Now, I will say in Jim Schwartz's case, I know he was here a few years ago as an analyst, and boy, did we make a big deal about that, and people were excited to have Jim Schwartz here. But he's not really been in a prominent position with Amy Adams Strunk leading the way.
Right.
So how much look, I'm sure he knows Amy Adams Strunk. I'm sure he's got a decent relationship with Amy Adams Strunk. But how much does that really matter when he wasn't? I mean, it's not like he was defensive coordinator when she's been in charge of things here. Arthur Smith is different. Arthur Smith has been around for all that. So I wonder how much that factors into things.
Yeah. I think that stuff overall is typically overrated. Like, okay, so Arthur Smith was here again. They were good then. So everything was awesome. Amy was at the tailgates. But also it's like, whether you were here or not, it's like, hey, the owner fires people real fast. So like, do your job well. Thanks. Anything else I need to know? Like, what kind of like, meat and cheese basket should I send the owner for Christmas? Like, like do your job well and try not to get fired. Thank you. You don't have to like have been here to know that.
Thank you for the package, Art. Appreciate it.
Do not ever make fun of fox hunting or fox hunting societies ever.
Wouldn't believe the size of that fox I saw out there today, Art. Sucker was huge.
I want to go on a fox hunt.
I would too.
Kind of cool.
Somebody asking if Cam Ward is going to reach 10 touchdown passes this year. I don't know. Right now he's at 6. 6 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. 58.4% completion percentage.
This isn't even like football. Like they're not even letting us watch actual football.
I mean, we just talked about Matt Stafford, who has 27 touchdown passes.
It really you watch several teams in this league, and then watch the Titans.
It's not the same sport.
Like if you flip the channels, it's like, what this? There's no way this is the same thing as this, right?
Yeah, he'll reach 10. He'll get to 10. You think about having that conversation for the year?
Yeah, I think he'll have 10. What did Levis end up with last year?
I mean, how many touchdowns did the Titans score last year?
I mean,
Will Levis last year had, let's see here, 13 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, honestly, that's
about what I thought.
That's probably about what Cam will end up with too.
13 and 12.
I mean, hopefully not the 12. Hopefully like 15 and 8. Get close to 2-1, right?
Right now, he is on pace for 10 and 10.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 10 touchdowns and 10 picks.
Yeah. So can you get that to 14 and 8? How about that?
Who's going to catch all those touchdown passes? I wonder. That's our problem right now.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Tajay Spears.
Screen him.
Catch the strep. Put the strep on the field.
It is strep time.
If he catches a touchdown pass in his debut this week, oh boy.
I've largely
if he plays.
I've largely dismissed the Restrepo talk because, I mean, the NFL has kind of told you what they think of Restrepo.
Right.
But I will say, like, at this point, why not? Put him out there. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. I also, like, I'm sorry. And, you know, Jake Lyman's here. I see him in the suit up. I've only really disagreed with one Jake Lyman take when he dismissed the Matt LaFleur could be fired.
He did.
You know, Lyman is aligned with Kaharski on this whole, you know, Mason Kinsey that like it's bad for the Titans to have him on the practice squad. Am I right, Lyman? Am I right? Kind of. He was like your 11th receiver. He's pretty good for that. There's nothing
he's
wrong.
like their 8th receiver, 9th receiver.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like if he at that level go through all the other teams in the NFL, I mean, you're not finding like way better talent at that spot. I really don't think you are.
You know, in all
Across the league.
seriousness,
you guys are just haters. Kaharski, Lyman, Kinsey haters.
In all seriousness, it is unfortunate. I can't believe I'm about to say this. It is unfortunate that we've not been able to see Bryce Oliver like hardly at all catch the football out there. That's where we're at with the Titans. Like, well, it'd be nice to have Bryce Oliver out there.
How much more magical could this season have been
Well,
with a few more Bryce Oliver
you tell me,
routes?
would you rather have Bryce Oliver or Mason Kinsey out there?
I would rather.
I'd rather have Bryce Oliver.
Yeah, I would agree. But yes, that is.
He's been hurt all year.
That is a funny thing to say out loud, though.
It was coming out of my mouth, and I was like, "Oh God."
If
only we could have seen more of Bryce Oliver so far this year. It could be a totally different situation.
How different could it have been? But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Like Mason Kinsey is fine where he is, and unfortunately, because of a lot of things that have happened, he has to play now. You don't ever want him to play, but like the idea that you can go, you know, yeah, you're gonna have like way more talented guys at that spot. And Kaharski just hates his guts. He just has some personal issue with him.
We think that's it?
It's a usual thing with Kaharski.
Okay. All right.
And yes, Joel, Lyman is a Hokie, and I'm sure he is pumped about Franklin. I expect an hour on James Franklin today.
A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans front. We'll take your thoughts. How much different would the season be if Bryce Oliver was out there? That's really the hard-hitting question we need to get to today. More of your thoughts on the Cam Ward Titans front. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joey from Bellevue says the Titans should play Restrepo just to prove a point. So they could say, see, he's awful, so shut up now.
Well,
get him out there, throw him the ball, let the fans see that he's not good, and then get him off.
This brings to mind another rant, which
Okay.
I don't have time for. But
Sure we do.
I heard this yesterday. Okay, so who was talking about this? Actually, it might have been Jake's show. It was one of our shows. The brain's really got issues. But they were talking about the tank thing. Like, let's all agree. Like, coaches and players in the NFL do not tank, period.
Yeah.
Period. Mike McCoy would like to, I'm
Be a head
sure,
coach.
like get a job making good money coaching something in this league. You know what, like winning 2-3 games with this freaking team would do for him? It would help him. Trust me, folks, it would help him. They are in that building, they are all in on winning. They're always all in. Now, if a front office, they trade away half your defensive players, obviously they're is that their way of tanking? Maybe. I mean, like the front office is a different deal, but the people who are doing football, coaching, and playing every week do not tank ever, ever, ever. Don't freaking bring it up again.
Well, and by the way, I think a lot of people in this conversation are giving the Titans way too much credit. The Titans are absolutely bad enough to lose games without having to tank them.
Once, and this resulted from like, and I saw it on our show on our text line like yesterday, which was the Mike McCoy, overly conservative approach. It's like, well, he's just trying to tank. It's like, dude,
What
no.
good does that do Mike McCoy?
Exactly. It does no good. He's not trying
He's
to
not gonna
tank.
be here next year. So why does he care about that?
I mean, lots of coaches, the old mindset was 100% to take a field goal there. As we've talked about, like this league has moved forward, which has been a great change for the league in terms of way more teams going for it on fourth down because the probabilities support that.
Yeah,
it's good. It's okay to invoke a little math, which brings me to something I heard from Big Joe yesterday. He and Chase started to argue about that. Apparently Big Joe thinks like all analytics are like trash and just go with your gut. Your gut should be part of it too. And also like when Dan Campbell slammed into the line 3 straight plays the other night, after he lost his right guard going up against Jalen Carter. Also, you should look at the situation and say, can we block them right now?
Probably
not.
not.
Let's not do that. Like all kinds of things come into play, but probabilities should be part of it. I mean, you want to be as smart as possible to win football games, not just brawny.
Yeah. I mean, look, the tanking conversation, the Titans are just bad, man. If you want to make the argument, they traded away Brownlee and they traded away McCreary, okay, that's fine.
So
do I think that Brinker and Borgonzi want the number 1 overall pick? Yep, I do right now.
I do too, but you know what? I also think they probably sit there and say, God, it wouldn't be terrible to win a game or two, man.
Especially for your quarterback.
Right. So, yes, the front office can do things that essentially send you down that path. We do have an example of Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, apparently, according to Brian Flores, going to him and talking to him about tanking, and that became a scandal. That's how little chance there is ever of coaches and players tanking, which is part of one of the things I love about the NFL.
One texter says, explain benching May for Milton last year if coaches don't tank. Explain starting Tony Pollard over Spears. Explain not going forward on fourth down.
Tony Pollard over Spears? Are you kidding me? Who said this?
I don't know.
Give me a freaking name. Explains how could you start someone over the great Tyjae Spears? I mean, give me.
Well, by the way, like, do we think it was Gerard Mayo's call? Let's put Joe Milton in there over Drake May, and then they could fire me, which is what they did, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, why would Gerard Mayo care about that?
Yeah. When you get to the very last game of a season, then I think sometimes decisions are made personnel wise. But again, that's the last game of the season when it's okay. Here, it's right in front of you.
And by the way, that's probably not a Gerard Mayo decision at that point.
Exactly. Did you seriously just say Pollard over Spears? This new computer doesn't let me, find things. I need to find this and say things in the text that I can't.
People apparently think that Tyjae Spears is just like some great player around here who's never done anything in the NFL, by the way. Nothing. Has never done anything. Now, he may be a better option right now than Tony Pollard. Although, I mean, they did just, Tyjae Spears did just run the ball 4 times for 3 yards on Sunday. So, like, the Titans don't have a very good running back on the roster at the moment.
Did you see the rest of this text? You're insane if you don't think coach is tank. McCoy is on the same page as the front office. I'm sure he's getting a nice bonus to yeah. No, he's getting a huge fat bonus to tank. Dude, they almost they're almost winning these games. If you were doing that, go out there and get blown out. Let me see some real tanking. Yeah. Tajay is a hell of a lot more efficient than he meant to say than Pollard. I think he said Tajay is a hell of a lot more efficient than Spears. Grow eyes, Joe. Okay. I'll hold my tongue.
They just need to give the ball to
I can't be mean.
Tyjae Spears more, who is averaging 4.6 yards per carry this year, which is fine.
It's actually not bad.
Yeah.
No, I do think that Tyjae Spears should get the ball a little more. But the idea that like having Pollard play as a tank is hilarious. Yeah, they're bad guys.
Yeah. The Titans, I don't know if you've noticed, haven't had a whole lot of trouble losing games over the last 3 years. I don't think it's because they've been tanking the whole time.
But as we learned today.
This is a low T alert.
As we learned today, the Titans have a much brighter future than the Preds.
Yeah, they do. Rexrode's fired up about the future of the Titans, baby.
Relative to the Preds.
Yep.
All relative.
Playing the parade. Super Bowl right around the corner for the Tennessee Titans. Now, somebody says, mark my words, Spears will be an absolutely fantastic player once he leaves. We'll see.
I like Spears. I hope he can stay healthy. He can be a solid like third down back, and I'd give him some more carries. But my God, let's calm down.
People act like it's Derrick Henry out there. That does it for us today. On that point, next man up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.